Hearthstone is a horribly broken game, but that's what makes it so awesome. Okay, now hear me out. I actually was so frustrated with the Hearthstone meta that I did a rant video right before Ngoro came out, and I quit playing the game right when Ngoro came out because the meta was everybody was playing crazy aggro decks, and I was frustrated with the game because it encourages you to get coins, to open packs, to make better, more expensive decks. But it turned out the more expensive your deck got, the less likely you were going to win, because it wasn't the big, expensive legendary minions that were winning you the games. It was the really cheap, small-time Buccaneer type of minions that were really dominating that aggro meta. Excuse me. But hearing about the Frozen Throne Lich King expansion, I thought it was going to be the greatest thing that's going to happen to Hearthstone. So I decided to start playing it again. And you know what? The meta looks like it's still in a jam. Everyone's playing Druid right now. But I'm actually really enjoying the brokenness of Hearthstone. Let me explain to you why. So when I actually first picked up Hearthstone, Black Rock Mountain first got released, I started learning the ropes, and I lost to somebody playing against Warsong Commander, Grim Patron Warrior, and I thought it was the coolest combo in the entire world. And back when I was a noob at Hearthstone, for me it wasn't about climbing the ladder. It wasn't about getting all these high win rates and ranks. For me, it was about finding new deck synergies and combos that were actually really fun to play. I actually grew up playing a lot of actual physical card games such as Pokemon, Cardfight Vanguard, and Yu-Gi-Oh! So I've had a bit of experience with card games, and I was really starting to like Hearthstone because of the comfortness of being able to just play it on your phone. So I fell in love with Hearthstone, and I wanted to just keep playing the game. But since that time, I've played through and experienced a lot of busted decks and combos. Let's just go through a couple. We had the Force of Nature Savage Roar combo. We had the Lepernon Arcane Golem aggro deck. That thing was crazy strong. And then there was that time everybody started playing Yogg-Saron. And then after that, OTK Warrior started to become a thing. That meta was actually really fun to... playing the deck was fun. Playing against OTK Warrior wasn't fun unless you were OTK Warrior. Then we had Mark of the Wild Hunter, which just threw their deck over the edge. Every time you play that thing, you won the game. We had Toskar Totemic, which made aggro shaman insane. I remember that meta. Every single person who was climbing the ladder was playing aggro shaman. We also had Small Time Buccaneer meta, which is the one that frustrated me so much that I actually stopped playing the game. Following that, we had the Quest Rogue meta, which I hopped in right before the expansion came out. And right now, they're changing up the meta by killing Pirate Warrior and making Druid ramp even slower by nerfing Innervate. So as you can see, there has been a lot of broken combos before, and there have been a lot of nerfs. And fortunately, it's not only nerfs when something tips the scales a bit too far and the win rate goes out of whack. It's also when we are playing against a deck that's not fun, such as OTK Warrior and Quest Rogue, which really felt like the person was playing with themselves and you just sat there. Kind of like Freeze Mage. Freeze Mage is almost like that as well, but hopefully they're going to take out Ice Block. Ice Block, they said they might take out next year. But right now I'm getting off topic. So the topic is, look at all these changes, look at all these nerfs, look at all these broken combos, and you're thinking to yourself, this game is horrible. They always have to go in and they always have to update the game. How could this be a good game? How could you like this game, Tony? Well, the reason why Broken Hearthstone is the best Hearthstone is because it makes the game fun in multiple ways. The first one is it's because it's a digital game, because you can Google and you can go to Hearth Tracker, you can see what the statistics are for every deck, for every specific card for when it's played. That way you can know what needs to be nerfed, and that way you know what's the worst cards ever, which kind of takes away from all the secrets. As being somebody who came from a lot of physical card games, there were a lot of secret hidden combos and decks that we were not aware about until there was finally the world or the national championships, and they post the deck lists of the champions, and we see, oh, they won because they exploited this combo from this deck. Hearthstone, it doesn't actually have to be that way. Hearthstone, we can catch problems early and fix them, even though they don't get patched fast right away. And that's a good thing why they don't get patched right away. And let me explain why. We get to make counter decks, and counter decks are a lot of fun to make. And I made so many decks to counter Questlog. I had Pirate Eaters, I had Dirty Rat, and my favorite was saving it, and tossing up Counterspell when you're fighting a Quest Rogue. And when the patch actually finally happened and they nerfed Quest Rogue, I actually kinda missed the meta a little bit because I loved playing on purpose to counter it, like playing those crabs to counter Pirate Warrior. And right now, again, Druid's the one that's winning. This is September 2017. Lynch King just released. I don't know how late you're watching this video. Druids are everywhere. J Druids are everywhere, and we also have Shamans a lot. Not too much, but a little bit of Shamans. And there is a card, and this card, when you play it, Battle Cry, destroy all 1-cost cards everywhere. Suddenly we have Jade Druid with their Jades gone, and we have Evolve Shaman with their Evolve spells gone. It's such a satisfying card to play against those decks. As well as you could also counter them by playing Quest Mage. But since a lot of people are playing Quest Mage, you could play mill decks to have Quest Mage mill its cards. And suddenly the meta shift into one thing countering the other, countering the other, countering the other. And when this next upcoming nerf comes, it's going to ruin this counter we're playing right now. And I know I'm going to miss it. So it's kind of a bad thing, but it's also a great thing because the game developers will always drop patches and updates. Right now we have about 3 or 4 large expansions a year. Then a couple months, 1 or 2 afterwards, we're going to have most likely, this happens all the time, we're going to have a patch that comes out, and it's going to shift the meta by nerfing cards and making some better. We also have those yearly rotations. So right now in the state of Hearthstone that it's in, it's actually the best state it's ever been because the game is always fresh. As soon as there's a new expansion, everyone's playing crazy decks. They don't know what they're doing. And then when they finally figure out what they're doing, everyone's playing decks to counter them. By the time you get tired of playing decks to counter them, another patch drops and suddenly you have to figure out how to counter the new beefy decks. And right now is the best state of Hearthstone because there are so many cards to counter each other. Let's just go through a couple really quick. We have the Warlock Treachery discard combo that just loses somebody's hand. Dirty Rat, which also attacks somebody's hand. We have the 1-mana Spell Destroyer. We have Weapon Destroying cards. We have Taunt Destroying cards. Murloc Destroying cards. Secret Destroying cards. Beast Destroying cards. Pirate Destroying cards. Board Filler counter cards. And Big Minion counter cards. There's probably even more counter cards that I'm not listing right now. But I could tell you when Hearthstone first came out and the meta was broken, it wasn't fun. Everybody was playing the same deck. Everybody was playing Doctor Doom. And if you weren't playing Doctor Doom, you were going to lose, most likely. But since that time, Hearthstone has learned so many lessons. They started rotating broken cards, and if there is a broken deck, suddenly we, the players, have tools to actually counter the broken deck. So we can actually tech cards in. And I think that this makes Hearthstone right now, broken Hearthstone, the most interesting state of Hearthstone it's ever been, and the most satisfying that I've played in since I first started playing Hearthstone with 2 years ago, I believe, the Black Rock Mountain release. So this is just a quick little reminder to anybody who's watching it who's probably super sick and tired of the broken meta they're in right now. Just remember that they are going to update it very, very soon. And when they do, you might miss it just a little bit. So don't be afraid to go in there and build a few counter decks because you never know. When that meta shifts, you're going to start missing it. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Tony Sticks, and may you guys have a nice warm day by the fireside. I like it. This is my first green screen attempt. Pretty good. I made so many decks to counter Questlog, quest rogue.